Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of the new AP Ferg album, Trap Lord. AP Ferg, New York-based rapper, member of the ASAP mob, and this is an album that I have been dreading reviewing a little bit, to be completely honest. Partially because of the singles that came out before this album was released, like the song Work, as well as the track SHABBA Ranks. Really huge trap music influence on these songs. However, lyrically and just sort of flow and vocal-wise, what AP Ferg was sort of reminding me of was kind of like a goofier version of A$AP Rocky, if you can imagine that. I guess there are elements of his shtick that you could also liken to rap artists such as Trinidad James, Lil B, WAKA Flocka Flames, but he clearly has this deeper appreciation for the classics in hip-hop and great instrumentals and good flows and overall just a more holistic aesthetic, because this album, as weird and as goofy and as bad as it can be sometimes, does feel like it flows really well from track to track with interludes that segue and bring tracks together and just sort of make Trap Lord kind of a seamless experience. And also on this LP, I think AP Ferg brings a ton of humor and charisma and just some personality that may not have been completely apparent just from the earlier singles and from where I've heard him featured before. Still, despite, I guess, some initial reservations, Ferg does come through in a lot of ways on this LP, especially instrumentally. Definitely A$AP Rocky's great taste in beats have been passed over to Ferg for this project. A lot like A$AP Rocky's last album, you're getting these elements of trap rap, southern hip-hop, chopped and screwed, Memphis stuff, on top of a little bit of cloud rap, making things really cavernous. Master Bruce! Consistently on this LP, the instrumentals are loud, they're epic, they're dark, they've got a lot of synth textures and flavors. I love the opening track from this thing, Let It Go. The beginning of this album is actually pretty solid for the first 3 tracks, but Let It Go, man, with the hand percussion and the kind of Middle Eastern, to me, synthesizers over these trap beats, to me kind of feels like A$AP Ferg is this trap sultan in the middle of this smoky harem. The song SHABBA Ranks definitely brings that vibe to me too. I dig that song as well. That has grown on me, but I do think the song gets a little shaky toward the end with Ferg's flow getting kind of just a little weak and ridiculous. But it's not like the song didn't start ridiculously with it being kind of in tribute to this 90s dancehall raga star. That just kind of plays into the overall absurdity of A$AP Ferg's personality and this album, really. I think my favorite tracks on this album are songs like this and Lord, where essentially you have these trap instrumentals just hitting really hard and just having a lot of reverb on them, a lot of darkness coming from the melodies on these tracks. To me, the synthesizers on Lord are incredibly sinister, as well as on the song FERGIVICIOUS and the remix for Work, which is cold and as hard as hell, especially with the Schoolboy Q verse on the back end of this track. And I actually dug the song MURDA Something quite a bit too with WAKA Flocka Flame, which has this awesome opera sample going on in the instrumental. Not usually something I like in my hip-hop beats, but it was kind of applied subtly enough to help out the rising action of the song and just sounded great. It wasn't strung out too long, it wasn't too gaudy, it was just in the background for a split second, added some character. And of course, over these instrumentals, another kind of melodic component that you get is Ferg's voice when he is singing, if he is doing it well and you can manage to tolerate it. There is some serious Bone Thugs influence coming through on this thing again, just like that Live Love ASAP, just like the Long Live ASAP, but Ferg does take it a step further and invites Bone Thugs and Harmony onto this album for a feature on the track Lord that I just mentioned, and it is fantastic, just machine gun flows one after another, really thrilling, exciting. Other hip-hop greats are tributed on this LP, like on the song Fuck Out My Face, with Be Real from Cypress Hill doing the first verse on this track. ONYX is on the song, bringing these really loud scream choruses. Sticky Fingers from ONYX has a verse too. I think where Ferg is a little shaky is when he is pulling together some hooks or structuring songs or even singing. Singing is really the Achilles heel of this project. Hood Pope. While maybe hearing ASAP Ferg sing might be funny or sort of entertaining for a minute, there's no reason it should be lasting for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. On top of that, the track 403, I can't think of anything less sexy than hearing ASAP Ferg sing as if it's some kind of Kid Cudi Drake collaboration about a threesome. And as far as the closer on this LP goes, Cocaine Castle, I can appreciate that lyrically Ferg is trying to come in and say, hey, listen, drugs will destroy your life. Except I named my album Trap Lord, and I'm rapping about trapping and murdering people throughout much of this thing. There are some spots where the choruses feel a little half-assed or obvious, like Dump Dump, and the track didn't want to do that, while I do think it's kind of silly that, again, ASAP Ferg raps about murdering people quite a bit, and yet seems to want to make this track here about his friend getting murdered over his chain. Either way, what really ends up killing the song off is the incredibly long vocal interlude in the middle where you have one person telling another person about the entire incident on the phone, and then the person being called getting angry about it. Still, despite that handful of complaints, I don't think this is a bad album. It's incredibly fun, ignorant, silly, and just ridiculous. Again, it's not like there's this incredible depth to the lyrics, and when ASAP Ferg does manage to bring that, for me it's kind of like, oh, but you were just saying all this other stuff. Thankfully, this album doesn't make you have to choose between highbrow and lowbrow all too often. It's an interesting blend of both. The ASAP Mob, I think, is doing a fantastic job of bringing this absurd ignorance together with just kind of high fashion and more refined aesthetics. I guess that's how you could put it. I'm feeling a light 7 on this thing. But if you've given Trap Lord a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that is it. Only the strong subscribe. All mistakes were intentional. Shout out to Lee Bannon, Anthony Fantano, ASAP Ferg, Trap Lord, forever.